Hello, welcome. We're so glad you're here today. I'm Gretchen Batra, an AARP volunteer with the Fraud Watch Network in the mountain region of North Carolina. And today I'm so pleased to have Diane Trainer. She is an outreach specialist with the North Carolina Senior Medicare Patrol program. And she does many programs all over the western part of North Carolina. Welcome, Diane. We're glad to see you.
Much. Nice to see you also.
Yeah. Well, today we're going to be talking about Medicare fraud, and we do hear about the big cases. Reading the newspaper about the multi-million-dollar capture of fraud people, often around medical fraud and so forth. But what about us? The just everyday consumer of Medicare. Do we experience fraud? Guess what? The answer is yes. And we're going to talk about the kinds of fraud and how to prevent it, and what you do if you suspect that something in your case has been fraudulent, because any money that the fraudsters take away from Medicare hurts all of us in the long run. So it's important to be vigilant. Now, today, if you have questions or comments, you can type them into the comment section on your website. And generally, the places that are on the right side of the screen, just kind of look around your screen and see where your particular one, depends whether it's Facebook or what. So the screens vary a bit, but you can submit questions or comments, and we welcome those and do our best to answer them. Now, as I said, Diane is an outreach specialist with the Medicare fraud. She doesn't deal with Medicare questions, so we won't be going in that area. We'll just be talking about the fraud and other kinds of concerns related to fraud. So, as I mentioned, Diane, we have about the $1 million cases in the country that we read about in the newspaper. But just to get kind of a handle on this, about how many Medicare beneficiaries do we have in North Carolina?
We have 2 million, approximately 2 million beneficiaries. 2 million. In North Carolina. There are approximately 44 million nationwide. And, when you tell someone that a Medicare beneficiary, that they are a part of a program that has 44 million people, it is staggering to some people to think that. But every single Medicare beneficiary counts. You are a part of a program. You pay your premiums every month. Yeah. You are just as important as any of the other millions of people. And it's
thank you. That to put it in perspective, we are a big deal when it comes to preventing fraud. Yeah. So 44 million. Okay. Well, let's talk about Medicare fraud. In the U.S., I remember back a few years, it was something like $63 billion in fraud. How much is it now?
It is about 68 million a year.
Million or billion?
Billion with a B that Medicare loses every year to scams and fraud.
And so that's money out of the pot of money that Medicare could be using now and in the future for all of us.
Correct.
And so you get a perspective of why it's so important. And let's see. Let's think about how would a person, an individual, know if they're experiencing any fraud?
Well, the best way to tell is to look at your Medicare summary notice. You receive a Medicare summary notice every time you go to the doctor, every time you purchase some durable medical equipment, anything that Medicare pays for. You receive a summary notice if you get your COVID shot. because Medicare has paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
It comes whenever in the mail. Remember, Medicare will never call you ever on the phone for any reason.
Good point.
So if you get a call from someone saying they're calling from Medicare, please hang up the phone. Don't even talk with those people. They want your Medicare number. The SHIP program is nationwide, and our job is to encourage people to never, ever give their Medicare number to anyone, because in doing that, the scam artists have they can bill Medicare using your Medicare number.
Oh, yeah.
And then it will show up if your number has been compromised. It will show up on your Medicare summary notice. It is a statement that you receive, just like you receive a statement from a credit card company showing what has been charged to your Medicare number. And please remember, you are the only person that receives this statement. It goes to no one else. So if you find mistakes on that, it is important that you report them, because if you do not report the mistakes, no one will report them, and it'll go unnoticed. So that's very important.
Yeah, I had a friend that was supposed to get a wheelchair through Medicare. It turns out somebody else had gone in and gotten the wheelchair. Medicare paid for it. And so therefore they weren't eligible. So that was a case of fraud. Yeah. Yeah.
Durable medical equipment fraud is rampant at this point. Here again with your friend, she probably received at some point a summary notice showing where that wheelchair had been charged to her account. It could have been, several years before. So that's why it's important to open and check the summary notice. And if you will just go to like the second or third page on the summary notice, you will see where it's listed the provider, what the provider charged Medicare, what Medicare paid, and what you owe. Now, please remember, and it's on there everywhere, the Medicare summary notice, some people get what's called an explanation of benefits. That is not a bill. That is simply a statement to show you what Medicare has paid to the provider. Now, you should wait. It may show that you do owe something, but do not pay based on the Medicare summary notice. Wait until you get your statement from the actual provider, because many times things are deleted. The provider will delete certain items that you don't owe. But that's the only way that you as a beneficiary can stop Medicare fraud, because you're the only person that knows that it has happened.
Yeah, you've really emphasized that well. And I can remember times I've heard people say, well, it's not my money, so why do I care? And, as you're pointing out, it is your money.
It is your money. Every beneficiary is an equal part of Medicare. And when Medicare loses money, you lose money. It's money out of your pocket.
Exactly. And or the future people too, as well. Now, so we get our explanation of benefits. And again, we're the program is going beyond North Carolina. So across the bottom of the screen, we're running a resource so that you can check out who's the equivalent to SHIP in your state. For example, Massachusetts, it's called Shine. So they tend to be under the name SHIP, but sometimes certain states have different names. So that's your resource to get assistance. Okay, so you get your explanation of benefit, and then I guess you get out your calendar and make sure the dates are right. Is that correct? How do you
Yes,
verify?
You can call the provider if you want to and ask them, to verify that, check the dates of service, and what they did charge to Medicare. Now, if it's an exorbitant amount, or if you may see perhaps a test or lab work, something like that was accidentally charged to you, understand that the majority of Medicare fraud is not intentional. You think about these doctors' offices and hospitals and all the people just like you and I who are involved in the billing process. And it's very, very easy to make a mistake. So most of them are what we call simple mistakes, but they still need to be rectified, because you take, if every Medicare beneficiary is charged $100 more than they should have been charged, $100, times 44 million is a tremendous amount of money. So don't let the amount bother you. One thing you can watch for, particularly if you have purchased some durable medical equipment, be certain that the amount that was charged to Medicare is correct. I'm going to pull a number out of the air. I'm going to say the wheelchair costs $200.
Yeah.
Make certain that that is the amount that medical equipment company charged Medicare. They didn't charge Medicare $250. That is fraud, and that needs to be corrected. And those are the kinds of things that get slipped in order for these providers to make some extra money.
Okay, so sometimes it's an administrative error from the doctor's office. And so you point that out, question it and point it out, and then they need to correct that. And then sometimes it's just actual fraud. One of the administrative errors I heard about is somebody that had a test for their heart, a cardiovascular test, and it got billed 6 times. Well, she called the office, and obviously that was a mistake, and they corrected it. But there are other things where they do something called upcoding. They charge more than whatever the procedures is. Yeah. Can you explain that a little more than I can say upcoding? But
well, if the provider is not willing to change the charge to Medicare, it is the responsibility of the Medicare beneficiary to file an appeal. And the appeals process is simple in that you have to get a statement, of course, from the provider showing how much was charged. Now, this is where your SHIP organization comes in. SHIP is a free service all over the United States, and they're there to help you. They can assist you in the appeals process. They cannot do it for you. You still have to physically fill out the form and put the appropriate documentation to mail it to Medicare. But they will assist you so that you can make certain that you've, done it correctly. On the Medicare summary notice, there is a lot of information on how to handle denied claims or to file an appeal. And it is relatively simple, so that you can do it yourself. But you, as the beneficiary, must do that in order for it to get the charge to get reversed. It takes about 30 days from the time you send in your appeal for Medicare to work on it and get it resolved. And if you feel like perhaps it's taking too long, once again, you can call your SHIP office and ask them if they can look into it for you.
Okay. And I think we have information on how to find this SHIP, or depending on its name, all across the country. So there's yeah, right there. It's the bottom of our screen, the Senior Resource Guide, and that has the information for each state. And so you can look up your own state and find out. And it might be called something different than SHIP. As I said, in Massachusetts, it's called SHINE. So it just depends on the state and so forth. Okay, well then, Diane, one of the things that's really a mystery is the doctor's office or the provider sends in the charge, and then it gets paid really fast. Now, what's the deal on that? I mean, doesn't Medicare sit and look at each and everything, every claim, and verify it?
No, unfortunately, there are millions, literally millions of claims filed every day to Medicare. They are automated. They have to be automated. There's not enough people to sit there and look at every claim that comes through. So it goes through the claims process automatically. Here's where your big scam artists have an advantage. They know how to bill Medicare. They've got all the codes. They know they know what they're doing. They send and they've somehow gotten your Medicare number. So they send a claim to Medicare using your Medicare number for any number of things. It might be they're going to charge for some specialist visit, thousands of dollars that you went to see a specialist in another town. Okay, it goes through the process. At the end of the process, the check is written and is sent to the scam artist. Also, at the end of this process, the Medicare summary notice is printed out. The summary notice that shows where that money has gone is sent directly to you. It does not go to anyone else. It doesn't go to your doctor, the hospital, anybody. You are the only person that receives that. You are the only person who knows that this scam artist is out there using your Medicare number. That's why it is so important for you to open that summary notice, look at it, make sure that everything on there is yours. It's something that belongs to you. And if you do not do that, then the scam artist gets by with it. They cash their check and go on their merry way.
Right. Yeah, I think by law, Medicare has to pay the bills within a very few days. So people need to know that by law they have to do this. So it's sort of a conundrum about this whole situation. I think what you're really pointing out so clearly is how important our Medicare number is.
Yes. And of course, your Medicare number is unique to you. You're the only one that has that number. Fortunately, a number of years ago, Medicare went to a lot of expense to change your Medicare number from your Social Security number. That has helped some, in that if a scam artist got your social security number, then they also had your Medicare number. But the new Medicare numbers are quite different from your social security number. So that has helped. You still have people calling you at home. I know I do almost every day. I'm calling from Medicare. I want your Medicare number. Or they're offering the braces, neck brace, back brace, whatever. All we need is your Medicare number. Those people are not calling from Medicare. And the only way to legally do that, and just always remember, Medicare will never call you. Therefore, you have no reason to give your Medicare number to anyone.
Even when you go to the doctor's office, I guess I want to ask them, how are you going to protect my number? Because, let's say they shred all the information that they don't need at the end of the day. Well, there are these people called dumpster divers that can go in and recreate the document. So and during COVID, all of these things have grown astronomically, all of these frauds, and right across the board, any kind of fraud has just increased. And then there's this thing called the dark web, which is where a lot of very, very serious crime goes on, everything from drug trades to human trafficking to money laundering, and the information gets in there. So it's incumbent on us to really be very serious consumers now in all respects. And so can you think of any of the other ways that people can protect their Medicare number?
Number one, we ask that you not carry your Medicare card with you. So many people have it in their wallet and carry it with them everywhere. Okay. Only take it with you if you are going to the doctor or the hospital or a place, maybe you are going to purchase a wheelchair at a durable medical equipment. Anytime you're going to use Medicare to pay for something, yes, take it with you. But whenever you get home, put it back in a safe place. And that is probably easier said than done. We tend, it's like our driver's license, we feel like we need to carry it with us at all times. But it only takes one time for you to be defrauded by anybody using any of your personal information, your social security number, a credit card number, your Medicare number should be considered as fragile as a credit card or a social security card.
Exactly. Well, that reminds me, I think I've got mine in my purse and I need to get it out of there and put it in a file folder, carefully labeled, because then you go, let's see what I do with it. So you got to be sure you know where you put it. And
now,
I know
if you are traveling, then we recommend that you do take your Medicare card with you. If you are just around your local area, and because I've had people say, well, what if I get in an accident and I'm taken to the hospital and I don't have my Medicare card with me? It's okay. If you are in the town you live in, your local hospital will have that information. So you don't need to carry it unless you are traveling.
Yeah, and hospitals, depending on what happens, have to treat you. So you can get, they can get the information later. But for serious injuries and so forth. Well, this is great, Diane. Is there any other things that you can think of ways we can protect ourselves against Medicare fraud?
Just remember to protect your identity. You never give your personal information to anyone who calls you on the phone, anyone who comes to your door. you do not give your personal information ever to anyone. Please check your Medicare summary notice when it comes in. If you see mistakes, you need to report them. And the easiest way is to report them to your SHIP office, which is nationwide. And they are there to help you. It's a free service. And SHIP, just always remember, SHIP is there for you as a Medicare beneficiary.
Yeah, I have a friend that's a SHIP volunteer, and every year we go through and look at my situation and verify that I'm doing the best I can for myself. They're incredibly well trained. They're volunteers, but the information that they have to do the job is just amazing.
It is. It is. And, Medicare changes daily,
yes.
Most. So it is very important that everyone keep up with the changes with Medicare. Also, Medicare offers special assistance, financial assistance to some people depending on their financial situation. And your financial situation may have changed over the last year for various reasons. Check with the SHIP representative to see if you qualify for assistance from SHIP. You may be surprised.
Yeah, you've given us lots and lots of ideas of how to protect ourselves and some bonus ideas as well. So before we wind up, are there any other things that you want to highlight before we check off?
Just don't give your personal information to anyone. Check your Medicare summary notice, or in some cases, your explanation of benefits every time it comes in the mail. That's the number one message that I have today. Okay.
Well, super. Well, thank you. No throwing those things in the wastebasket. Put them in a file folder, and after you review them, put them in a file folder in case you need to go back later. Well, Diane, thank you so very much. We really appreciate you being here and sharing all this information. And each and every one of us is an important consumer in the Medicare field. So everybody, please do your job and check the summary of benefits. I guess sometimes they're called explanation of benefits as well. And there's a lot of information there. So get out your calendar, make sure that the dates match what you know about yourself. And we're going to have good Medicare consumers, Diane. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
dear, very much. It's my pleasure.